right, welcome everybody to the round table. I'm here with Ben. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm exhausted. It's been a long weekend.
Yeah, you freaking killed yourself going
It was like 9 miles
9
worth of
miles.
hiking. So today, guys, we're going to start out with something a little bit different here. On this one, we're going to talk about a book, a chapter of a book that we are reading. We decided we wanted to give you guys a little bit of something new. Talk about a book that we really enjoy and that we're going through and reading and learning from. So today we're going to talk about Relentless by Tim Grover.
Yes, sir. Such a good book.
It-
I know you said that you've read it a few times, and so and listened to it, and this is my very, very first time
Really?
reading this book. Yeah, or listening to it, just in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to it probably 3 or 4 times, and then I've re-listened to the first section of it, and I'll explain that in a second. The first section of this book, I've listened to it twice in the last 2 days, just to make sure that I'm hearing everything, understanding everything. I've read through it. I'm on like the second area and everything already because I'm doing started 75 hard, so I got my 10 pages each day, so I flew through this first section pretty quick. It's only 15 pages, so got through that pretty quick. So I've been doing refresher courses. I plan to do it this whole time.
Good.
So what are some of the main things you took from it?
So for me, and in this chapter, it's really just an introduction. It sounds like to me. It's kind of it's telling his credentials without him kind of telling you who he is, but it also, he talks about meeting Kobe and Kobe calling him. That's kind of how the book starts, right?
Michael.
Was it Michael or Kobe?
Yeah,
Okay,
Michael.
it was Michael. Okay. So it talks about him kind of calling him in the middle of the night. And, I think they're in the middle of the playoffs in the very, very first chapter, the very first sentence. He's talking about him kind of calling him and saying, hey, I need you. And so he talks about, him being in the gym, shooting shots and da-da-da-da. And it's interesting because as the chapter progresses, he's kind of giving the introduction to what he deems is relentless, which what I end up getting is, it's the motion of not quitting, of keep going, finding that next gear, the next level of what you can do, and not really putting a limiter or limiting beliefs on yourself is kind of what I got from it. And then he goes into the very end, and I think it goes back to meeting Michael, and then he talks about how he kind of been trying to get in with the Bulls and trying to get into the program of training a professional athlete. And I love that he talks about how he doesn't have the expertise. He doesn't have the large clients just yet, but he knows that he can do it. And he's trying to get Michael, and he's like going back and forth with the Bulls, and he ends up meeting Michael and talks about, okay, this is what I can do for you. Mike says, that's impossible. And he says to him, well, give me 30 days. And then he goes into, well, 30 days turned into 15 years. And I love that part because it goes to show you, like, to me, it's that relentlessness of in that, just that statement, that it is the epitome of what he's trying to get across. People will put limitations. Oh, it's not possible. It's never been done. You've never trained anybody. You've never, all these different things. And he just goes to show you, like, his relentlessness of continuously trying to get into that large clientele ended up paying off because he had a plan already put together. And then I think he goes into the part of, like, where, kind of backing up a little bit, just how this book isn't for, like, the fluffiness. He's not going to fluff it. He's going to be super straightforward. We were literally just talking about at the very, very end when he says, empty your glass right now and let me refill it from scratch. And to me, he's like, what you've talked about is about ego. Drop the ego. Drop everything you know. Drop all the limiting beliefs that you know, and let me pour into you. And that's kind of what I got from that first chapter. It's just a quick introduction of him, of who he is, why you should really take a listen to him, right? You got to be able to listen to somebody. They got to give you something of what expertise. And he talks about not being a theorist. This is stuff that he's done. He's put into action, and that's kind of what I got from it, And that my key takeaway was that it's just, put all the stuff aside. Put everything that you thought you knew, put that aside, and then start from zero. So that's kind of what I got from it, man. What about you?
So I guess the beginning, I don't know who the athlete was. It could be Kobe, it could be Michael, because he never actually specifies.
Okay.
Because he is talking about meeting Michael Jordan
Mm-hmm.
in it, but the black Suburban rolling up in midnight, the security, he never says who it is.
Okay.
He doesn't specify a date because it could be Kobe, could be Michael. But I think
it doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
I think for confidentiality, he never says it because of legality reasons. But I mean, regardless, he sits there and he talks about, to me, like you said, it's an overall summary of kind of what the book's going to be. It's an introduction to the whole thing, and he's talking about his definition of relentlessness and the levels that you have to push and go beyond to get there. The one of the big ones to me was where he talks about, you got all these people that are like the glass half full, glass half empty. He's like, don't tell me the glass half full or the glass half empty. Just tell me there's something in there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what's in there, whether it's full or empty. It just matters what's in there. So, I love this book. I've listened to it a lot. Tim Grover is amazing. And when he talks about, success is about dealing with reality, facing the demons and addictions, and not putting a smiley face on everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
That encompassed with the speech we heard at Limitless, to me, is everything right there. That's everything Relentless. And you have to face the demons and make them your allies, as he spoke at Limitless about, which was life-changing for me, as we've talked about. That was those two key words were key points were pretty huge for me. And then, the strategy of getting everybody to your level and not slump into theirs, which that's pretty common knowledge, but that is still a very, very key point here. The relentless attitude, the relentless mindset is thinking something's impossible and figuring out a way to make it possible. I freaking love this book, guys.
It's such a good book, man. There are so many good quotes. I'm just kind of looking through my notes, and one of them is face the truth and stop the excuses.
Yeah.
And he talks so much about to stop thinking so much and do action. And I think in this book, just excuse me, based on the very first chapter, I can tell that it's pretty much going to be one of those where this isn't for the person that's really just looking to read something. This is an action book, meaning that when you read something and he's telling you to apply it, you're not just taking a note on it, but you're actually going to apply it to your everyday life or whatever you're trying to achieve. Because essentially, Relentless, like he talks about, is getting to the peak and then knowing that isn't actually the peak. There is never going to be a peak. So you're going to continue, like you said, your standard isn't going to be dropping it to somebody else's. You're raising it, and you continue to raise it and raise it and raise it, and you're never satisfied.
That's 100% what he says.
You're
there.
never satisfied, and I know I don't want to get things mixed up. I don't want to incorporate other books, but I see the very first chapter took me back to the book that's behind you, which is The Power of One More, and it's that kind of that same concept. But that's what I got from it. It's just you can never be good enough. You're good enough, but you need to continue to push to get even better and better and better, and that's how you become competitive in the game of life.
Oh man, like I said, I've read this book and I am so excited for you to continue on this. I am stoked because I know what's in this book and I know you, and now knowing you've never read it or heard it before just amps me up for this segment that we're doing. I am so freaking excited.
Well, I think it's good because, like you said, you read it so many times, and this is the new beginner, so bouncing off of each other. Your perspective might differ from mine in certain aspects because you've already heard it and like, oh, I can relate this so quickly to this, and so I love it. I think it's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
It's gonna be really, really good. So, yeah. So your top takeaway, what would you say?
The Relentless. What I'm trying to think of exactly how I said this. The Relentless is never being satisfied.
Okay.
What
Love
about
it.
you?
Key takeaways is just drop your ego. Start from zero. That's literally the one thing that stood out to me. It's just if you have a chapter of a book that you think that you've already written, just erase it. and we start, maybe not even erase it, just draw the line in the sand, flip the page, and start a new one.
So guys, we're going to start doing this once a week. So you're going to hear different segments of this. Next week, I'm going to explain a little bit more, and it will explain a little bit more. And I know Ben's going to hit on this right away as to what I'm talking about when I come to say sections instead of chapters. So I know he's going to hit on this the next time. I guarantee it. But guys, hopefully you like this. I can't wait to bring you more. As it is, Relentless. We're going to be relentless in bringing you guys content as much as possible, and the best content we can put out week by week. We're here to do it, guys. So thank you very much for enjoying this little segment of it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.